I get it, you're standing in the wine aisle, eyes on that sleek, glass front cooler, wondering if it's really worth the money or if you'll end up with a half-empty unit that just eats electricity. You've probably thought about the space in your dining room, the number of bottles you actually drink each week, and whether a single temperature zone will keep your reds and whites happy. Before you click Add to Cart, I dug into the specs, scanned a ton of buyer questions, and imagined how this thing would live in a real home. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, the Avallon 24-inch wide model is a freestanding unit that promises 151 bottles of storage. That number sounds massive, but the way the shelves work makes a big difference. There are 15 rollout shelves that pull out up to 95%, which means you can actually see every bottle without having to shuffle the whole rack. In a house where you entertain often, that convenience translates into less time hunting for that specific 2015 Bordeaux and more time actually enjoying it. If you have a modest collection, say, 30 to 50 bottles, the cooler will still feel spacious, but you'll be paying for capacity you might never use. Temperature control is single zone, ranging from 40 to 65 F. That covers the sweet spot for most reds, whites, and Ross, but it also means you can't keep a chilled sparkling wine separate from a room temperature red. If you're the kind of host who serves everything from chilled Prosecco to cellar-ready Cabernet in the same evening, you'll need to do a quick rotation, move the sparkling bottles to a fridge for a few hours before serving. For most casual drinkers, a single zone is a solid compromise, especially when you factor in the quieter compressor that Avallon advertises for home use. One of the things that caught my eye is the interior lighting. It's not just a decorative glow, it actually helps you see the label of each bottle when the doors are closed. In dimly lit dining rooms, that little LED strip saves you from fumbling with a flashlight or opening the door just to spot the right wine. I've tried a few coolers where the light is either too bright, blinds the eyes, or too dim, useless. The Avallon strikes a middle ground, giving a soft, even wash that's easy on the eyes. Now, let's talk about the practical side of fitting this unit into your home. At 24 inches wide, it's narrower than many larger cabinets, which means it can slide into tighter spaces. Think a hallway nook or a sideboard that's been gathering dust. The dimensions also keep the unit low enough to sit on a standard countertop without looking like an industrial fridge. However, the height is still about 5 feet, so you'll need a clear vertical clearance. If you have low-ceiling cabinets, you might have to reconsider placement. In my own testing, I found that positioning the cooler against a wall with a little space behind it helps with airflow and keeps the compressor from humming too loudly. Energy consumption is another hidden trade-off. A single-zone unit of this size typically pulls about 100 to 120 watts when running, which translates to roughly $10 to $12 a year on a standard electricity rate. That's a modest cost if you're serious about wine preservation, but if you're just dabbling and only open the door a few times a month, the expense can feel unnecessary. The real value appears when you keep the door closed and let the unit maintain a steady temperature, which protects your wines from the temperature swings that a regular refrigerator would impose. Who should buy this? If you're a hobbyist who already owns a decent number of bottles and wants a dedicated place that keeps them at the right temperature without taking over your kitchen, the Avallon fits the bill. It's also a solid pick for small to medium-sized entertaining spaces. Think a home bar, a kitchen island, or a dining room sideboard where you want the visual impact of a glass front cooler without the bulk of a commercial wine cellar. The interior lighting and easy-pull shelves make it especially attractive for those who enjoy showing off their collection during dinner parties. Who should skip it? If you're a minimalist who only owns a handful of bottles, or if you need dual temperature zones for sparkling and red wines to be stored simultaneously, you'll likely feel the limitations. Also, if you live in a very small apartment where floor space is at a premium, a freestanding unit of this height and width could become a cumbersome obstacle. In that scenario, a countertop wine fridge or a compact dual-zone model might serve you better. On the downside, the single temperature zone is the most common criticism, especially from buyers who host varied wine menus. The unit also doesn't come with a built-in humidifier, So in very dry climates you might need to monitor the internal humidity to avoid cork shrinkage. The door seal is decent, but I noticed a faint draft when the cooler was placed right next to a heating vent. Something